again. Welcome to yoga. My name is Kristen, by the way. For this practice, I want to focus on the sacral chakra. And that also means that we're going to get into the hips a little bit. So that's going to happen here. And this chakra is located, it's the second chakra, and it's located in the lower abdominal area. And the color that is connected to this chakra is orange. And so when I began to practice this area, the color orange that I imagined was, if I may share, yours might be whatever comes to mind, but I can picture these orange lilies that are in Humboldt sometimes, and I'm sure many places. And they are these wild orange lilies, and when the sun shines on them, the orange is just awesome. And so it was kind of a beautiful translucent orange that I picture. And so if that makes sense to you today, if you like that idea, you can practice bringing that color into your movement, into your hips. The intentions behind the sacral chakra are one, creativity. It's a good thing to explore in all your different ways. Pleasure, joy, laughter. I'm just throwing in extra words there. And I really want to remind you that this one connects to the emotions, all the emotions that you carry, and allowing them to move through you a little more freely, not trying to control the negative, letting sadness, anger be an important emotion too, just as happiness is. Okay, content, all that, all good stuff, and good to recognize. Okay, so enough on the introduction. Let me move into what we're going to do. So we don't really need, I don't think, the blanket too much today for this one, or the strap. I don't think we need it. You can have them nearby in case you want them. You might want a water or a drink of your choice. And this is a beautiful orange right here. You can see the fire and light. So where I'm going to start today is on our backs. How's that sound? And we're going to get into our hips first there. So you're going to lay on back and just stretch your body nice and long. Reach your arms, reach your legs. Take a deep breath here. And I'll have you pull your right knee in. The other leg is long. If it needs to be for comfort bent, go for it. Please. So reaching long through both hips, pulling one in, reaching the other one long, hooking the hand. You're going to open this leg out and down. This hand is placed on the hip over here. The eyesight is straight up. And hold that for a moment if you would. And then bring it back in. And now holding that leg underneath the thigh and behind the knee here, you're going to extend and bend. You'll notice this kind of gently warms up the hamstrings. Straighten and bend. So begin to feel your legs waking up with that movement. And now pushing your leg a little straighter, maybe slightly away from you into the hands. You're going to move through your ankle and foot. Move freely, whatever makes sense. And then the third movement here comes down into the hip joint. So you can check this out with care. I call it the drop and pull. So I'm going to release the leg down and then lift it up and pull it in. So release and draw it. This leg might be more bent if you feel a little discomfort that you don't like with the straight leg. A couple more of those. And then finally I'm going to bend this leg, put the foot on the floor, turn this one open, and do a brief figure four. Okay. So there's going to be a figure four at the end also. So we're kind of opening with a figure four and finishing with one. Relax, take a deep breath here. If you feel like you want to move this stretch around, kind of explore into your hips, check that out. And then setting that down, uncross. So now I'm going to have you pull your second leg in and reaching this one long. Hook your hand over the top, and you're going to open that leg out. This hand is on the hip, eyesight is up. Take a deep breath here. And then back up to the top. Hands are underneath now, and you move into that extending and bending of the leg, reaching it and bending. Inhale and exhale. Now pushing it straighter, move into your ankle a little bit. See what you find there. It's interesting to notice the connection of your ankle movement and how far down your leg you can feel this movement. Relax the foot. We'll come down into the hip joint now and do a pull the leg and then drop it down. So here we have it. I'm going to bend this leg, pull this one open, and come into a little figure four moment. And deep breath here. You might close your eyes sometimes during this class. And let your senses take over, your other senses besides your eyesight. And if you want, move freely around within that hip stretch. Done, we're going to roll up to seated, so I want you to make it as playful as you can, rolling your way up, maybe even coming back a couple times until you're ready to come up. I'm going to do one more roll, and then up. Awesome. All right, so now what I'm going to do is switch us around to child's pose. Let's see. I have to think about this for a minute. I'm going to turn us this way. Sorry, that took me an extra moment. And come into your child's pose. So this is just the way I want to turn. You can be turned towards me. I'm sorry, wasn't making that clear. Child's pose can be really nice for opening the hips and lengthening the spine. Your knees can be wide if you wish. But remember, with your child's pose, make it comfortable for you. If the knees, these are elbows. If the elbows need to be bent and arms closer in, that works. Stacking hands, just little reminders. And of course, if you are in pain or discomfort, please come out of this. Promise me that. So we're going to come up into dolphin pose first. So briefly, I'm on hands and knees, just briefly. And I come down to the forearms. And the fingers can interlace or be straight. And you lift up into your triangle-shaped body. Bow your head between your arms. And hang out here just a little while. And begin to walk the heels, lifting one, and then the other. A couple times. And then lowering that down, come into child's pose again. Settle yourself down into it. I'm going to bring us into a low lunge just so we can touch into the, I forgot, this is a good place. My fault, I apologize. The back knee will be down, so if you want a blanket, to put under the knee, this would be the place to have it. So bring your right leg through into a low lunge and knee padded if you wish. So stretching here, and this is where it just becomes a little free. What do you need? Do you need to lift up that back knee a little bit? A little movement. Kind of checking into your hips. The one I wanted to offer though is to lift up and get into this hip flex, really opening it up. So you lift up here and you practice a little tuck through the tailbone, trying to super open the iliopsoas area, the hip flexor. Keeping that. Take a deep breath here. And sweep the arms up. Relax your shoulders. And then bring that back down. Take that leg back and switch to the second side. And so a moment of just kind of feeling it out. And when or if you're ready, what I wanted to offer was to come up here, little tuck, and lift, opening up the hips. Maybe pushing a little bit forward, see what you find. Practicing a little balance here. Arms lift up. Relax your shoulders. Inhale up into your fingers, and then exhale it back down. Good. And take it back. All right, so now I'm going to move my blanket aside. And we're going towards a downward dog. So I can start in child's pose and lift up into your downward dog. Your head bows between your arms, draw your shoulders down your back. If you want to go for wider feet for a moment, you could bend your knees and kind of feel into your hips more. Turn the hips up towards the sky. And deep breath here. So really making this downward dog a little more about the hips. So now bring the feet closer. And I'm going to have you bring your right leg up, three-legged downward dog. And on this one we can open the hips. Notice that. You can open them up, bend your knee, and see if you can paint circles with that knee. And then circle it the other way. And then one more time, balance, reach. And now bring that foot between your hands. So take your time bringing it up there, but bring it all the way up so you have a straight line, knee to heel, long leg back here. So now I'm going to move up. Oh, for a moment, let's stay here for a moment. This is kind of freestyle. What do you feel? What do you need? I'm going to do a little movement, drawing it back and down. See if that makes sense in your body. And if you're ready, you'll lift up and balance between the two legs. And sweep your arms up into crescent lunge. So now I'm going to play with a little bit. I'm going to keep the legs and let the arms sweep back like so. And then again, lift them up. And circle back. One more circle. Inhale. And exhale. And then lowering down. So now this left hand, this inner hand, is going to be placed down so I can come up into the open twist. Reaching this arm up. So again, here is your perfect pose. And now feel free to move it around and play with it a little bit. Does your arm want to open back more? What about a big circle? Just little ideas. Wrist. And then bringing that back down. We're going to move back to the downward dog. Inhale here. Exhale, downward dog, please. Bow your head through. And now lifting your left leg up. Same thing now, we're going to come into our hips. So I'm going to open them out, bend the knee, and paint circles with the knee, possibly. You're exploring this on your own, seeing what makes sense. And then when you're ready, you're going to bring that foot between your hands. Now remember, totally fine if you're coming down and then guiding the leg through like this. Okay? Lift the back knee up. Now practice lifting up into your crescent lunge. Sweeping your arms up when you're ready. And this might be just perfect if you want to do any freestyling, moving the arms around, challenging the space a little bit. And then lowering down. You're going to bring one hand to the inside, and the other one is going to unwind and open up. And maybe fall open slightly. Circling if you wish. And then finish off and bring that down. I wanted to add one thing in. I'm just going to draw back a couple times. And then you're ready to drop the back knee. Take this leg back and settle yourself back into child's pose. Now move your hands back and make your way up. And I'll talk about the next little piece for a moment. If you want a sip of water or whatever you're drinking. We're going to come into a couple different planks. Planks of your choice, of course. I'm going to do the forearm plank. And I want you to focus on the strength that you put into the lower abdominals when you're in plank, where you draw it in, support the lower back with that strong core. So first I'm going to definitely remind you of the low plank with the knees down and how strong and awesome that plank can be. Hands, fingers spread, shift the hips. I'm pulling up through the core, practicing that little chakra awareness or just lower core awareness if you wish. Good. Nice. So you can hold that one a little longer, or you can come to forearm plank with me. I'm going to put the forearms down. You can also do full plank if you wish. I wanted to teach this one, legs reaching, hips lifted, strong through that lower abdominal area. I'm out of breath for a moment. Now lowering the knees down and lowering your body and practice a little lengthening. So now we go into our little back bend. I would love to start with a Sphinx pose where we basically were. Lifting up, drawing your chest through, a little strength in the core, in that sacral focus area. Sacral. Just ignore that. Laugh at yourself, who can you laugh at, right? Because it's really not nice to laugh at other people. And I'm going to come up into a cobra next, if you wish to join me, and then fold back into child's pose. Taking it back. Inhale, lift. And then exhale, fold back into child's pose. If anybody wants one more downward dog, here's the wonderful place that you can put your downward dog. So either resting or a little downward dog moment. Walk my hands back, and I believe I'm going to show you something new. It's thread the needle. It's kind of an interesting pose, so I might end up doing it towards you and turn sideways because it's kind of weird to understand at first. Okay. So let me turn sideways, and you're going to be up on hands and knees, and you're going to thread. I'm going to take my right arm first, and you can definitely be watching this first. You know that. Thread. Place my head down. And that's just silly because my face turns away from you, so I can't talk to you as well. Let me show it this direction. Okay. So I'm going to pick an arm, thread it through, head comes down. Your neck is comfortable. And so if you're still watching or you come back up to watch, I want to add on one thing to it, and then we'll do the real one together, okay? I'm going to bring both palms together, and the top arm is going to lift up and maybe fall back a little bit. And then bring that back down. Good. And that's how you come out of it. So maybe you've already been playing with it a little bit. Let's do it again. I'm going to show on each side now. So I'm starting with one. I'm going to bring it through. Head is down. Neck is long. So the second piece of reaching the one arm up is totally optional. You don't have to do that part. The top arm comes down and you unthread out of that. This is one of those more challenging ones I'm finding to teach. I hope it's going okay and practicing it as you like, creatively on your own. Threading through, relax your head down. Top arm reaches up. A seat with me. I want to say something. This was just on my mind. Please, please, if you ever find a pose like that one's really weird, and sometimes certain bodies, or you're not ready for it, just don't feel comfortable doing it. It doesn't feel right. Respect that. It's so fine. I promise you. Let it go. Come out of it. Set it aside. Maybe go. Okay, let me work on that slowly. And this is so nice. The video thing. You are at home on your own, practicing as you wish. Okay, so just wanted to emphasize the importance of that to me, that you're not getting frustrated when something doesn't work for you, okay? So finishing up, just a couple more things. Coming into bound angle, of course. Ultimate opening of the hips, your butterfly. And I'm going to make this just freestyle. What do you want to do with this butterfly? And you can peek my way and I'll show you a little twist if you'd like. I'm going to open that knee, hand on this thigh, and twist one direction. Maybe that the other way. here with me. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, reaching your long spine forward. All right, ease up out of that. So we're going to do a couple windshield wipers, because what I ultimately want to do is windshield wipers on your back, and so you won't be looking at me, so I wanted to remind you. You'll be laying down the next time you do these. Up and over. So letting the legs come through like that. Usually it's nice to have the feet pretty wide. It gives the hips, legs more room to fall into it. You see what I mean? Good. We'll do that again right at the end. So we're pretty much there. So I'm going to come into that figure four. Remember I promised figure four one more time? Hook it in. Roll your way back. And so now what I'm doing is reaching through the middle hole and around the thigh. Relax the foot down. If you learn that you like the figure four using a strap, please take a moment to use that instead. Releasing that, I'm just going to stay on my back this time and switch legs. And deep breath here. Find the appreciation of this stretch. I'm hoping you do a little bit. And that you can gently smile while you're here. Alright. So the last hip stretch. You're on your back. It's going to be the windshield wipers. I take my arms out to a T shape. And my feet are as wide as my mat, eyesight straight up. And you just begin to rock the legs side, kind of twist your body a little bit, and then lift it up and over to the other side. And as my knees go one direction, I turn my head the other way. So inhale up, exhale it over. Continue with that a few times. Inhale it up, exhale it over. So then finally, if you drop your legs to one side, so let me suggest that you drop them to the right. So here's sometimes one that's hard to understand, so I'll show it both directions. So the bottom foot, the one right down here, if you want to roll up and watch it first and then try it out, you hook the foot. So I'm going to show this in a couple different directions so you can take it with you, figure out what I'm doing. So I showed it there. It pulls gently through this hip right here. Let me do it the other way and see if you're still like, what the heck is she talking about? This foot, it's nice if it's kind of hooked up close to you, and then the bottom foot hooks the knee and draws this leg down until it opens this hip. Okay, so if you found the magic and you're there, keep stretching it. Let it hang on one side then the other. I'm going to turn my body and show it facing you. Even when I teach this in class, sometimes I just have a hard time trying to figure out how to express it. It's just weird. So I'm going to lay back here and take the knees to your right. And it's the bottom foot that hooks over and draws the leg further down. If you go into this one and it bothers your lower back, I'm going to go the other way. please release out of it. You can simply be without the foot hooking. You can be like this. Or you can hook and it'll deepen into the hip right here. See what you find. Unhook, lift up, pull your knees in, let your lower back press down, and then roll your way up to seated. Maybe finish off with a little butterfly. And so thank you so much. Namaste.